All right, let's move on to Hear Me Out. This is another new segment. This is where we reach. Sometimes we're gonna really reach. Sometimes it's just gonna be very blatant. Mine's a little bit blatant this time, where we propose a theory for the film, about the film, or something in regards to the film.
I just want you to know I don't have a theory. I have actually what the happened.
Okay, well, so do I.
You go first then.
Okay, so I like to take the straightforward path. I am inclined to believe everything that tech support is saying in the end in the elevator. I think he died by an overdose by his own hands because he was so heartbroken over Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
I think the splice happened when he wakes up after the night in the club.
Mm-hmm.
His lucid dream picks up when he wakes up outside Sophia's house after the club. So everything, the murder, the switch between Sophia and Julia, or Julie, Juliana. I think all of that was a part of the lucid dream. The Kurt Russell, McCabe, I think he was a part of the lucid dream. Like, all that was the manifestation of David Ames' subconscious.
Gotcha.
And it's pretty obvious. Like, it was always a mystery to me when I first watched the movie, but going back and watching it last night, it was just so obvious that when he wakes up outside of her apartment, things are just, there's this realism to everything that's happening before that.
It starts with the sky. You see it when the sky, the paint.
But the biggest thing to me was the relationships. Like, the night before was more how things would play out in reality. This is somebody that she only briefly knew, then he disappears, and then he comes back disfigured and tries to pick up their relationship where it left off in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're already this thing. And to her, he's still pretty much a stranger. She brings the Brian along for the night at the club because she doesn't feel whatever. She feels awkward around him at best.
Right.
So, like, all that was, like, painfully real, and then he wakes up the next day, and it is, she's in love with him, come into my apartment.
Right.
He gets his face repaired, everything, the relationship with Brian is repaired,
Right.
Like, everything works out in his favor. So, I think it all plays out exactly the way tech support says, and then at the end, he's faced with that decision. Do you continue the lucid dream now it's been corrected, or do you leap off the building and rejoin the real world 150 years in the future, in the year 2151.
And how many times has he done that jump? Remember, he runs towards the end. He was like, "Oh, I'm almost." I'm like, "Is this Mission Impossible? Edge After Tomorrow? Whatever."
So it's he literally says, "I want to go back to real life. I want to live my real life." So that's all. It's all pretty straightforward. Tech support says exactly what happens. He chooses the real life, but where it gets murky for me is when he wakes up at the end, before his eyes open, you hear Sophia's voice again, just like in the very beginning of the movie where she says, open your eyes. I don't know, that kind of throws things off for me because...
That's when it threw, the end is when it threw things off.
Yeah, because he could either be waking up...
That's cute.
He could either be waking up in, that, like, what is real life? Because they keep saying, like, life.
Well, according to Morpheus, why? Do you think you can touch and feel? Do you think that's real?
Well, like, tech support always says, when you were alive in the traditional sense. So when he says, I want to go back to my real life, consider the fact he only lived as a human being, like, outside of this cryogenic state for 33 years.
Yeah.
He's been in that cryogenic state, lucid dreaming, for 150 years.
Like
so
Benny the dog.
At that point, what is your real life?
Nothing. All the people you've known, everything, and even the guy tells him, like, he was rich as before he went in, but I guess cost of living over 150 years, he told him, like, your finances won't last long.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because they've been draining him of his money for 150 years.
And he gave him the logistics of what reality would be like 150 years in the future, but what David Ames says is he wants to live his real life.
Right.
And I just feel like, because you hear Sophia's voice before he opens his eyes, it's almost like he's waking back up to the lucid dream, and tech support perceives that to be what he meant by saying real life.
No, this is just still your theory, but I know what I took from it. If based off what you're saying is, if he went back to his real life, remember his real life, he didn't get fixed. He was still having those headaches. His mind was still fucked up, so he would still probably be remembering some of those things.
That's what I have in my notes. That was my alternative. Was if he is not lucid dreaming, and that's the great thing about this movie is that you can watch it and both answers can be correct. He can either still be lucid dreaming and waking up to Sophia, or it's conveying the fact that when he wakes up, he's still going to be haunted by Sophia. So
mentally,
he hears her voice even though she's not there, and that's probably what he's going to hear until the day he dies.
It's not the second one. It has to be the first one, because think about it. The Sophia presence was so strong that even while she invaded his lucid dream. This did such a number on him that she invaded his lucid dream. And those women groups who just unisex, it goes each way. Y'all keep writing him, not me. So here's the thing. Okay, listen, you're never going to be on daytime TV with your theories. You got to give them some spice. You got to give them some pizzazz. And kids, I want everybody in on me real quick. Okay, I don't even have to look in the book for this because I know how I fucking feel. Let me tell you something. This comes down to, first off, one word: greed. And if I can't say anything else, keep your friends closer but your enemies closer. Let me tell you something. I know what happened in this film. You're talking about the end. That's not what it does it for me. I'm talking about right before he goes into that lucid dream. Let me tell you something. I did, in the rewatch, I did catch something I didn't catch the first time. And I'm going to tell you this right now. That motherfucker, Jason Lee, is the cause of this whole and
he wouldn't even own up to it.
No, right. And see, it was that one little moment when he asked him something. He like, hey, did you say something to Sophia last night? He like, why would I do that? And he kind of looks like the one off, and it all comes down to Tom Cruise's greed. And he told David Ames' greed, and he told him that. Jason Lee told him that. He said, look, man, he like, we almost just died, and your life flashed before my eyes. Mm-hmm. So he's already letting them know, man, I want to be you. You're paying for my book deal. We're best friends. Like, damn, dude. And then right at the night of that party, because clearly Jason had a little bit of a drinking problem, so he's fucked up, and he's like, oh my god, because think about it, he had just brought Sophia to the party. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey man, listen man, I normally don't do this, but man to man, bro to bro, I really like this girl. Stop flirting. This is not like a regular, I like her. Mm-hmm. Now, he already had said that Giuliani, which is a play on Giuliani, by the way, from New York. I meant to tell you that. But he's saying to her, he looks at her and says, he sees what's happening with
Giuliani,
Sophia.
The worst thing that ever happened
in New York. Well, the worst thing that ever happened to him was that fucking paint running down the side of his face, ass clown. So with that being said, he is at a point to where he had already said, man, so my dream girl is your buddy. He told him that in the car, and then he said, and then they almost died, your life flashed before my eyes. So he always wanted his life, and so the one thing he could have was this pure thing with Sophia, something that David Ames had not poisoned or touched. And the moment he brings this girl to his party, he's all on him. So in his mind, he's like, dude, what the f***? They're best friends. He's not finna, blow it off. But what he did do, he went in. Now, he had no idea that Giuliani was gonna do all that shit, but he told her that shit, and he felt horribly bad. You know why? Because me and you are fucking friends. If you die, I'm not throwing you no fucking 3-day memorial. You're gonna get a long 24 hours. You're not throwing you no fucking 3-day memorial. That's guilt.
You remember how drunk Brian was that night, though. He probably truly believed that he didn't say anything.
No. He looked down, dude. When he looked down, he said it, and he said it on. Even if he wasn't drunk, he was love and lust drunk, dude. Like, that's up. You see this playboy guy who's your best friend. He has all the money, all the girls, everything he wants. He has a board of older men bowing and towel tipping to him, and all you want is this girl. You tell him like, dude, I know you got everything in the world, but this one little thing right here, I love it, and I think I can see myself with it. And then you still go and get it. So to me, and here's the part about it. It'd be
crazy if he wasn't resentful. I'd be more weirded out if he wasn't resentful.
No, dude, it was him. He really he is the reason because had he not said that, there wouldn't be a movie. So I'm telling you that Jason Lee's character was the cause of every fucking thing that happened. No, let me rephrase that. The greed. It all goes back to greed, because even after he did all that and he met Sophia, and I believe they did a great job of showing them in love. Because I really feel like they had a good love connection going. But I'm going to tell you something. Yeah. Had he just did You picked a hell of a time to be in the studio, honest. He just kept his word and did what he said he was going to do and went to work and not got in the car with Cameron Diaz's character. None of that shit would happen. Because remember, Sophia said, I thought you were going to work. I thought you were going straight to work. And then he got in the car with her.
He says at the end. He tells her at the end, well, I lost you when I got in that car.
Right, and he did. So yeah, that's not even a theory. The fact is, Benny, it's all David Ames' fault. But Benny is the catalyst. Brian is the catalyst. Yeah. Brian is the catalyst. And shout out to Benny the dog. Something's wrong with that fucking dog too. Oh yeah, another connection. Get out.
What's that?
You can't tell me all that dog looked like he had been the transferring of the subconscious. Remember?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The life extension. They're like they're moving your mind and playing with your mind, which lets me know, just like any other film, when we found out about cell phones, they have been out 100 years. It's people in other people's bodies, man.
Yeah. I could agree. Before we move on, I'm gonna share the 6 approved theories for the film, approved by Cameron Crowe.
And even though I just gave him the real one. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
6 supported theories. You can find them on Cameron Crowe's website, The Uncool. The site reads, here are the 6 theories. Number 1. The movie is just as it is explained. David commits suicide. He is frozen and the splice occurs, etc. The sound you hear is David awakening in the future. Number 2, everything up to the car wreck was real, and the rest of the entire film was all in David's head as he lay in a coma until the end when he wakes up. So that's a pretty interesting theory, that he gets in the car wreck, he never wakes up from the coma, and everything's just kind of weird from there. Number 3, the entire film is a dream, as David struggles with his vanity, his sexual past, his ideal women, etc. The only real scene in the entire film would be the last as he wakes up. Number 4, the movie is writer Brian Shelby's fictional story about his friend David Ames, a story of the sour and the sweet. He plays the unsung hero to the Playboy. Number 5, the whole thing is a dream in that the depictions we see take place as reflections within a dream. However, the events are real until the splice, at which time they become fiction. Tech support states that David has been asleep 150 years. David's sessions seem to be reflections of his past. I think a fair interpretation is that the reflections have been tampered with by the subconscious to reflect his love for Sophia and the regret of his carelessness with Julie. You are relying on the unreliable narrator as to the details, like his love sort of being all around him before he meets her, his fears, dates, and the music. Like retelling a story that you know ends badly, you may create clues to take the edge off or tip your subconscious that this is a reflection, a memory, not reality. And the last one, number 6, are Christian metaphors, a story of divinity. David commits suicide, finally driven to it by the guilt over the death of Jolie Gianni. As he is dying, his life is passing before his eyes. While his life is passing before his eyes, he is also being tempted to sell his soul to the devil for the chance to make things right. David is asked many times, did you sign a contract? Then there's lucid dreams, kind of like Lucifer. Both women at LE have red hair. Tilda Swinton has hot sauce behind her. More importantly, Tilda Swinton is exactly the kind of personality you would expect the devil to have at the time of one's death. Vaguely sexy, assuring, calming, and persuasive. The ideas of David's Christ-likeness are from the following ideas. He dies at 33, as did Christ. His father wrote the book, and the book was called Defending the Kingdom, and the magazine is called Rise.
Out of all that, was that your theory?
No,
No, because I heard about the Tilda Swinton thing again. I'm just trying to figure out, why don't you like her? What did she do to you? You said she's weird, now she's the devil, put some horns on her.
I didn't say this. This is the uncool. I don't believe she's the devil.
No, what you're doing is uncool. What you're doing is stop bashing women, man. I'm not going to have that on this show. You got to find yourself another co-host. I love and respect women.
So those are the 6 approved theories. That's his theory and that's my theory. What was your theory? Let us know in the comments if for any reason let us know in the comments if it's like not one of those or if it is one of those. Let us know in the comments. Whatever.
The other theory is that I didn't know if you saw it. It's not approved by Cameron Crowe. One other theory is that this was a spinoff of Demolition Man. Of them freezing people and you know, just the program didn't work after that happened to David Ames. They shut them down, so they just started using it on prisoners and shit.
Well, Demolition Man was what, like 1995? That's when that.
It was first. So they started, just like anything, they started testing the prisoners first, like they tested Tuskegee Airmen. I was going to bring that back in, and now then they got it out there, tested on the prisoners, see if it works, and now it's out there. That's another theory.
I like that one.
I just came up with it. I literally just came up with it.
I'm in real time. I'm trying to wrap my head around the timeline of how that would transpire from 1995 to 2001. But I'm not going to do that.
You can't because the movie was in 95, but it was based in the future, so it still technically wouldn't play that way. Yeah, just something to wrap your head around.
I'll definitely, I'll do some research on that.
All right, because we do our research.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.